Hello, welcome back to the channel. I feel like every time I do that, it feels so funny. So today I want to talk about how ease can bring you money and how basically releasing that tension of financial stress can make you actually make more money. And I know like a lot of people basically told me that last year in 2024, but to be honest, I was just severely traumatized last year and I was having like a lot of CPTSD symptoms and which was really helped by EMDR. So I have to tell you, when you are in a triggered state, nothing will penetrate into your brain, but those people are correct. I think when you have financial stress, you need to release it and relieve it in some way. Well, my story is back from 2012 or 2010, basically. So back then, I was also like, this is has always been my thing, right? I wanted to make my own money. I wanted to make it like passive income because of Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy of passive income back in the days. So that really got stuck to me, especially in my 20s and stuff. I was arrogant. I was wrong. I apologize for people who basically uh, was stuck with me shoving my own ideal into like down their throats. I apologize. I was wrong. You are right. Because these people basically now have their own homes, can buy their own homes and afford them, and I can't. And I'm still like a teenager living in a perpetual teenager lifestyle. So they were right. I was wrong. But this is a story from when I was still working, and I basically took that advice of people, or basically did the advice of people of, relieving your financial stress by getting a job. So it's not like I have not done it before. I have done it multiple times in my past. So that's one of the reasons why I did not take the advice of really kind commenters, that people that were really kind to me back in 2024 when I was still doing the vlogs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check the link in the description below. There is a playlist there, or you can go to the playlist section of my channel. And in 2024, I did a whole year, 5 days a week vlogs where I just vlog my year because I turned 40 years old last year and I turned 41 this year. Anyway, and most of it is because I was just like, because it was a daily vlog, I couldn't have like a persona like I do now, which is like I basically focusing on you and delivering stuff to you. But when it's 5 days a week, all my masking is just being taken away. Like what you see is what you get, and it's just so personal. And I can't come up with anything that is not personal because I didn't have the energy to do that. Anyway, burnout is real. Um, but this story was from back then when I was still going with the society's suggestions, basically, doing the routine of, if you go freelance and then it doesn't work out and you need money, you go back to the mainstream and you go and make money in the mainstream. So, like, when I was when I had decided basically, okay, this is probably it. I'm never ever gonna make my own money. I don't think I have the capacity to do that, and I'm gonna stick out this corporate job and this normal life for me. So because this is probably it. And when I started doing this, when I basically stopped thinking of making my own money out there by doing my own business and stuff, I started like winning stuff, like especially when I go into a company events. Usually they have Melbourne Cups, for example, and I would win like one of the biggest prize money for Melbourne Cups. Usually they have a communal thing. They have a community activities for the employees, and like, oh, we put bets on this and that. And I'm like, okay, because there's no expectations. And suddenly would and I'm not I'm participating, but I'm just like putting money participating, like I'm not really like organizing and actually doing the whole thing, right? So I'm thinking, excuse me, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna put money in, and then Probably that's like bye bye money, right? Like you're putting the money not because you're expecting to win, you're putting the money because you have to participate as part of, this company. It's like socialization, basically, socializing. And I would get like dirty looks because when the result come out and everything, I would get like a large percentage of money because I would win in a few races. And I'm like, okay, because like they're like, oh, why would you win and stuff like that. And I remember also when we have like trivia events, and I would win like a prize because I would be the only one who won from my table. And I would get overlooked, of course, because I'm not loud when I'm in real life. I'm not outspoken by any means, because if you learn something from my documentary last year, it only lasted about what, a month before I became mute, before the vlogs became silent vlogs. That's how I am in my workplace as well. Like I probably am outgoing for a month, and after that burnout hits, and then I would just become mute. So that kind of makes me not having too much presence in my workplace and stuff. But it also kind of diminish your presence, no, your significance. But that's not the point. The point is, when you let go of that expectations of having money, wanting money, suddenly I found myself making money by ridiculous means. And money would just start coming to my life without any reason, right? Like without expectation, mostly. Like I remember like one time I received like $400 out of the blue from the chartered of accountants, because apparently if you have applied, I did not know this. Probably I was dumb, so like there probably are some people who actually use this to get money back, but I did not know this. That there was like because I have graduated like 2 years prior, before I was no 3 years prior, before I was getting this job, right? So, and then because I'm doing accountancy in this job, so I have to apply for a graduate diploma from the chartered of accountant. And because back then I wasn't, this was like back when I wasn't a citizen yet, so I had to get permanent residency back in 28 or something, 2008 something, and then I did it by applying by accountancy. And that's that. Like I did not connect the two. But I don't know whether it was $300 or $400, but it was like around that amount. And so by the time I signed up for my CA program with this company, suddenly out of nowhere, like I received like money, like they refund. I'm not sure if it's a refund or something, but like they basically paid me money by saying, because you work in your industry of your chosen skill assessment thing, we will give you either refund this money or give you this money back. So I just got the $300 or $400 out of nowhere. And I was like, wow. So it was a really good space to be in. Like suddenly when you stopped having financial stress, because the money, I didn't really have financial stress, but I have a lot of mental and emotional stress from the job. It was intense, even though the job was easy. But I think it was because I was an undiagnosed autistic back then, so I did not know why was the reason, and I wasn't aware of my traumas as well. So, but the financial bit was real. The financial bit was like as soon as you release your financial stress and your financial fixation on something, it just comes to you. Everything just comes to you. Like I started winning um, gambling, which was not recommended. Don't try to make money from gambling. And I started winning trivia stuff and receiving, like, because the price for those things are vouchers that you can spend on drinks and stuff. So basically free money, so you can spend it on drinks. And suddenly I am getting like $300 and $400 out of the, something that I never knew existed. And it was funny because after, because, but because even though I only did like one module in the CA Chartered Accountants program, I still make that money back, right? And I did not finish it because, my mother died and the whole thing happened, and here we are 13 years later. So I think like that's one of my reason of why I don't go back to that state. I'm like, I feel like the question probably can be like, if you knew like you're probably going to be making a lot of money by releasing and relieving your financial tension back then, so you probably can have the same effect now. Why don't you do the same thing? Because my problem is, if you do the same thing, you will get the same result again. I would feel that feeling of that mental torture. I would feel that stress out, the burnout again, and my physical health would started to deteriorate it so badly. And so it came with a lot of costs. It came with my mental health costs, it came with my nervous system breakdown, it came with my physical health breaking down as well. So that was a lot of stuff. So I have to kind of got myself together, I guess, if I go back to, which is probably impossible right now because I have like a 13 years employment gap. I don't think anyone would like to pick me as an employee. And if they do, they're probably going to pay me really low amount of money, which is like probably going to cost you more money in the future because you're going to be paying, a lot of healthcare costs attached to it. Um, so it won't even go to any type of future building financial costs. So that's my reason why I didn't go, or like I didn't try to go back. And I did kind of try to apply for a lot of jobs back in 2018, 2015. Like, I was still applying for jobs like even up until 2019, 2020 and stuff, and I just stopped about 5 years later, 5 years ago maybe. But even now, I still randomly applied for stuff, but I know I won't get it because I have a 13 years gap in my employment. But I guess like that's the thing, right? It's not like I have not experienced the becoming a freelancer and then going back to employment, becoming a freelancer and going back to employment. I have done that multiple times back then. So I think there is a reason why I want to keep going with this particular path is because um, with that path, I know where I would end up. I would end up sick, like sicker than I am now. And I would not have any control whatsoever. And you would have to cross a lot of people's egos, and you have to do a lot of politics. And I remember, and I don't know if I can cope with that right now. But I definitely know, like, but that's definitely true what people say. Like, if you relieve it, if you relieve your financial pressure in some ways, in this way, like you're going back to employment, you probably will receive like financial abundance from other places because you stop thinking about financial lack. So I think that principle actually works in real life, and actually, I have examples of it. But it's just so hard to initiate it back when you need it. Like right now, 13 years later, it's like, how do I get off my, like, my belief that I'm lacking money? Like, I can't because my body feels like it is at lack, and my body feels like, I am in deprivation. So even though I know that to be true, I still have problems implementing it. But if you are one of those people who are capable of, training your mind to the extent that you're denying your reality, you should do that because It's true for me anyway. Like as soon as the circumstances eased up in the financial department, I was like, "Oh, where are all this extra money comes from when I don't need it anymore?" Well, back then you can live on minimum wage quite well. So, but you can't do it now. You can't even pay for your grocery even now. So, uh, because like if you're on minimum wage, 80% of your wage probably gonna go to rent. So that's not possible. Uh, so yeah, so if you have a way to ease the tension, like I don't have a way right now, I can't go back to employment and I can't beg anyone to financially support me. So I'm just kind of meditating a lot, EMDRing a lot, trying to make sure that my nervous system is balanced at least and it's not haywiring, which I think is completely helpful, especially if you are trying to manifest things. Is your nervous system has to come first. It has to be really calm first, and it has to perceive that you are in a safe environment. And I think that's one of the reason why back then, like finance money just started to flow uh, to me or flying in from left, right, and center is because I felt financially safe as soon as I found that job and doing that job for a while. And there are other negatives, not about the job, but like about actually having an employment and a full-time job for me personally, because my system is not made for that. Actually, except for like a few people, I actually quite enjoy that particular job and that place and stuff. And I think so. I don't particularly have a lot of things to say badly about it as well. I was young and also naive, so not really coping with life much. um, so yeah, I think like life is just lifing. So if you can get yourself not to stress out and to feel relief in some sense, it's like ChatGPT is correct every time it asks me, and but I keep being irritated by it. Every time it asks me, what can you do to make yourself feel relief, even just a tiny bit of relief in this moment? And that is the way to get your abundance or to get whatever breakthrough that you need, is to find that relief in your body to get through there. Should I make like this series as like a bedtime series? Because I feel like my voice is very monotonous and it doesn't have that singing voice where it goes up and down so that your brain lights up when you hear it. My voice is like very monotonous and it can be like this and I can hypnotize you by it because I remember like my therapist is basically nodding like this every time he hears my voice. So I think I'm also hypnotizing you with my voice. I should put suggestion here as like relax, relax, all the things that you want will come to you. Relax, breathe in, breathe out, and relax. I used to actually, I probably should get that again. I should, I used to listen to Abraham Hicks Meditation City for years, I think for a decade even. And it was quite helpful back then. Yeah, it's very good because it makes you follow the instructions so you don't have to think at all, you just follow, especially for people who is really bad at thinking nothing, of like having meditation that is silent like this, like that kind of meditation was really good. But I feel like nothing is better than having a real life situation manifested in front of you. It's like proof, what care, this is a situation. But even then I feel like even when I was having a lot of money coming in out of nowhere and stuff like that, I wasn't really relaxed. My body wasn't relaxed at all. It was just kept going with tensions. And I just didn't understand it then. It was traumas, and also being part of the TISM community also probably was not helpful. But yeah, that is my ramble for today. Thank you for listening. If you have listened this far, I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video. My name is Valerie. I'm a solopreneur here on the internet. If you want to check out my other works, go to the description box below. There are links. There are links to my art shop, links to my graphic work, links to um, the investment app that I use, links to all other things. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.